Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Big Bold You, a show that is designed to help everybody out there be bigger in their life. And that means you got to think bigger so you will act bigger. Be bolder in your life, which means you're going to have to step out of your comfort zone, and you are going to have to do some things that you don't want to do. You're scared to do, but I promise you that you can. So you can become the best version of you. I believe that we live in a world where there is a war between good and evil, and the only way evil wins is when good people like you, like your loved ones and friends, don't do enough. So each week we've got incredible guests that come on that are living their lives with intention, that are doing things to help others be big and bold so they can become the best version of themselves. And they're just normal, everyday people like everyone is. That's one of the things I say all the time is the only difference between you and someone else is the point that they are in on their journey. That's it. So we are so excited to welcome our guest today, Miss Bryne Boyer.
Hi.
Did I say that right?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. Well, we are so excited to have you, Bryne. And, listen, if you are watching and you don't know who Bryne is, I promise you're going to fall in love with her because she's such an incredible person. I mean, you've just got this genuine energy that is so calm and so soothing and so loving, and it goes perfectly with what you have decided to do in your career.
Yes, thank you.
So just tell everybody though a little bit about who you are and how long you've been in Dallas, and do you have kids, and are you married, all that great fun stuff.
Good stuff. Okay, well, I was born and raised in Richardson, so lived here a long time, moved away for about 11 years to Alabama, and really grew and developed in what I wanted to do with my life. So was into yoga, owned yoga studios, and then it led me down a path to be a doula. So then my focus kind of changed. I let go of my studios in Alabama, moved back home, and focused more on just women and just the journey into motherhood.
Right. Well, okay. So I want to know, how did you get into yoga? Because first of all, yoga is an incredible practice.
Yes.
And it's one of those things that my whole entire life I've said at one time I'm going to have to start doing yoga.
Okay.
I mean, I know that.
Yes, because you
but,
can do it your whole life.
But how did you get into that?
Well, I was living here in Dallas, and I was in a class, and someone recommended that I go try out the studio. I'd heard of yoga. Actually, I started out as a dancer. I went to Booker T. Washington here in Dallas.
Oh,
so,
wonderful.
Always kind of into body movement, but then
Right.
was led into yoga practice. Wanted to find a training, kept practicing as a student, and then moved to Alabama. And then that's kind of where my path led me to New York and study with Jiva Mukti, and also study with Gurmukh and her Khalsa Way program.
That's amazing, Bryne.
yeah.
I mean, that is just what a blessed life you've had so far. I mean,
Yes.
there's people, I'm sure that, and I don't even know these incredible people. I just know that it sounds impressive to me. Booker T. Washington is it's an incredible high school. There's so many people that they aspire to do that, and then to be able to go to New York. So how did what were some of the things in your life that you were thinking and the decisions that you made that allowed you to really create that for yourself? Because we know that, listen, things don't just happen.
No.
That you created that.
Yes, I did create that. One thing, it was hard because I have two children. I have a daughter who's 15 and a son who's 3, so kind of busy. But when my daughter was I think she was about 8 or 9, I decided to go away for a month. So that was challenging because I had to leave her. And of course, some people didn't think it was the best idea, but I felt it inside myself, so I decided I'm going to do this, and I signed up and I went, and it was a great just transformational journey that I went on. And that training obviously led me to other trainings as
Okay.
well, and meditation. And
All right. So, this is a really big deal. So here you are, you're a mom. Your daughter is, you said, 8 or 9 years old.
15 now.
Okay,
Yeah,
15.
she
But
was-
at the time when you decided you needed to go and do something, she was 8 or 9, right?
Yes.
And that's a really big deal, Bryne. You talk about being bolder and thinking, because a lot of people, and listen, I think it's silly. I think it's completely silly when other moms or other parents judge you, because listen, you know yourself better than anyone else, and you know your family better than anyone else, you know your children better than anyone else. And if you make a decision because that's going to better your life and you as a person and your children's life, you should do it. But there are a lot of naysayers out there that they'll give you a hard time about it.
And it was hard.
Oh,
And
I'm
I think
sure.
I even missed a Mother's Day, which was even harder.
Well, and how long were you gone?
I was gone a month.
Okay, so you're gone a month.
yeah,
I mean,
it's
that's
gone
a
a
big
month.
deal,
Yeah,
though.
it was
That
a
was
big deal.
What were some of the things that led into that decision for you?
I had studied different types of yoga just throughout Dallas and in Birmingham, but I was searching for the right training for me. And Jiva Mukti was a great training because it was such focused on just yourself and meditation. So we did a lot of meditation. And I know studying here in Dallas, I didn't do much meditation. I mean, the yoga itself became a meditation, but just physical sitting and doing meditation, not so much.
Right. And listen, I mean, we're going to jump into what you're really doing right now, which is really you're wearing more than one hat, because everybody does. Is that not the truth? Everybody out there wears more than one hat, and you have to. So don't feel bad. Don't feel crazy. That is completely normal. But I want to know all the different hats that you're wearing right now, and then I want to jump into the hat that you wear as a doula, because I have such an incredible story to share about that.
Okay, so I am a mom of 2 and focus on yoga, and I own 2 yoga studios, but my focus right now is just prenatal, and I feel like it's more fit just for me, and it's more of my path, and I can just really focus on helping the mom to just develop and be in their body and be able to pass that meditative state and the breathing and the breath and just everything you learn on to the baby while the baby's still in the belly. So the doula part obviously is so exciting.
It is so exciting. I mean, it's so exciting. I want to know what made you decide to become a doula, and then what are your most favorite or ideal clients to work with?
Okay. I was at a training with Gurmukh in New York. It was a prenatal yoga training. And actually, at the time, I did not know what a doula was. And Deborah Pascal Bonnaroo was there at the training. So I felt her energy. She was amazing. She was great. And I went home and searched out doulas, and it just led me to find one to study with in Birmingham. So studied, became a doula. And at the time when I was working with women who were in shelters and they were pregnant and having a really difficult time living in a shelter. So I started out helping them with yoga, and then because of them getting to know me, they would often ask me to be their doula. So my ideal client is any mother who might be scared, and let's just start changing the language behind birth, because we need to get comfortable with maybe the idea that something else is possible. Birth does not have to be painful.
Right. Okay. And so now I'm going to tell everybody my story. I'm going to tell my personal story on how incredible having a doula by your side when you deliver. But then I'm also going to apply how the skills and the traits and everything that goes along with the whole principle and philosophy of having a doula really can improve every aspect of your life. So here's my story.
Okay.
And I told Bryne this when I met her, and she told me she was a doula. I just about went crazy, because I said, oh my gosh, first of all, I can totally see you as a doula because you have that calming energy. And, I've had 3 biological children. I have given birth 3 times. The first time, I look, I work out all the time and I thought I can handle anything. I mean, I really did. I thought I could handle any pain. Walked into the delivery room and I said, I'm going natural. Don't need any type of epidural, nothing whatsoever. I got into it and it was about, I don't know, maybe I was around 7 centimeters, and I was like, I want that epidural. I'm just like, I'm in so much pain. I'm dying over here. And the nurse looked at me and she said, Jens, you're going to deliver this baby in an hour. So you're not going to get an epidural. You're too far along. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, I can do it for 1 hour. I can do this for one more hour. And so I delivered. Well, my second one, I mean, the minute I walked in the door, they were admitting me. I said, I want an epidural. And they said, well, you just got here. You need to get up to the labor and delivery floor. I said, okay, well, will you let everybody know up there that I want an epidural? I'm like, I'm serious about this. I did it the other way the first time, and I'm like, no way in hell am I going to do it that way again. So as soon as I get in, I'm telling everybody, I want the epidural. I want the epidural. Got the epidural. And while I was in no pain, when I was supposed to push, I was like, I can't even feel anything. I'm like, is anything happening? So that was crazy, but I wasn't in pain. Then my third child, I had a friend who is amazing like Bryne is. She's just incredible. And just even like you have this calming presence, and it's such a genuine loving presence about you and energy. That's how she was. And that's why you're perfect for it. And she said, Jens, listen, in childbirth, and this is the true in life, whatever you resist, it's painful. So when you're in labor, and you have pain and you resist that pain, and if you just relax, you won't feel that pain. And I said, Patty, you're insane and you're crazy. And she said, let me be your doula. So I go into labor 10 days early with my third child. My husband at the time was out of town. I call Patty up. I'm freaking out like crazy. And I don't know if any of you have had 3 kids, but by the time I got to the hospital, I was far enough along that there was no way I could get an epidural. She comes in and she immediately starts her magic, because that's what doulas do. Bryne, the doula, has magic in her catnap bag, okay? And you just start to relax and to calm down. And I was in 0 pain. I was at 8 centimeters, 9 centimeters, 10 centimeters, 0 pain, insanity. And it wasn't until my doctor said, Ginger, at 10 centimeters and you can go ahead and push. My water hadn't broken yet. And I said, well, can I push even though my water hadn't broken? And he said, sure. And it wasn't until I started pushing that I even really felt anything, because here I was in this meditative state. And it was the most enjoyable experience. But what it taught me, and this is what I really want to jump into as well, is what it taught me was that important lesson that when you are experiencing pain, and you are going to experience pain, you're going to experience pain in childbirth, you're going to experience pain in life, you're going to experience pain in trauma, you're going to experience pain in transition. But if you resist that pain and you think it's so awful and so horrible, it's just going to be more painful. But if you learn the techniques to breathe and to relax and to associate yourself with great, wonderful people like Bryne Boyer, you are going to be in less pain or no pain at all. So I want to know from you, what is this phenomena?
Well, I think we could practice a short little session here if you want, and you're up for it.
Okay, I would love that.
Okay.
Yes.
So everyone, we can all just sit up nice and tall, find a
Okay.
comfortable position wherever you're at. Close your eyes and just start to breathe. And I like to use a mantra, and I use, when you inhale, just mentally chant let, and on your exhale, chant go. So let's begin.
All right, that was a minute.
Okay.
I didn't have my eyes closed because I was the timer.
You're the timekeeper,
But I
that's
could totally feel more relaxation.
Yes, it just takes a minute. So getting in touch with the breath, especially before you're pregnant and
Right.
learning or during pregnancy, is so important.
But it's important even when you're not pregnant. I
Yes.
mean, it's important. And you and I were talking about the transition in pregnancy, but also how in life there's so many things that we're transitioning through. You might be transitioning through jobs, through a partner, through a living situation. You might have had somebody that you love that has passed on, which is definitely something that Brent and I've talked a lot about, because I did lose someone, a loved one, to suicide within the last week, and it's just rocked my world. It's been very challenging and hard, and that's what we're talking about is, in pregnancy, I think that's such an amazing, happy time, and sometimes people don't learn techniques like these. Or maybe I should say they're more open to learning techniques like this during happy times.
Right, right.
But you desperately need them during all transitions in your life.
Yes, and it's simple, so simple. Just set your timer, or even start, 30 seconds if a minute's too long. Whatever you can start with, just, sit down and close your eyes or open your eyes if you don't feel comfortable. Whatever works for you, just start somewhere. So I think it's just so important. And also, the baby, you can teach the baby the breath while they're in your belly. They feel everything you feel.
Okay, so tell me the best way to breathe. I mean,
The best way to breathe?
Yes, the best way to breathe,
Okay.
because you know how so many people, I'm telling you, my husband breathes so loudly, and I don't know if that's good or bad, but I'm like, you're breathing too loudly.
Okay, well, first is a good seat.
Okay,
That's the
all
most
right.
important. So always find your seat wherever you're at.
Right.
Sit up nice and tall. You want your spine to be lifted and long. And, just make sure your shoulders aren't up by your neck.
Okay,
Drop them
okay.
down.
All right.
Always, we don't want
Relax.
turtleneck.
Right,
That doesn't
right.
look nice. But just relax. And then, close your eyes. And some people, when they first start to meditate, you will need a mantra, or it's just a
Right.
repetitive word you can use, just to keep your mind focused.
Right.
So let go seems to be universal.
that. Right.
It works for everyone. It can mean many different things.
Right.
Let go of what's going on, let go of pain or sensations in the body. So,
Right.
and then, I think people don't breathe enough into their belly, especially women,
Right.
they want to hold their belly in nice and tight, which is great, but
I mean,
really,
are you telling us we're going to have to push our bellies out?
yes, I'm telling you to push your belly out.
Okay.
So just don't hold the belly, let it go.
Just-
And then in pregnancy, of course, the belly
Right.
expands, so just let the belly move with the breath. That's
Right.
the easiest way.
And so there's no inhale a certain count, exhale a certain count. I mean,
I do teach that as
Okay.
well.
All right.
That's one of the first things I teach with breath work.
Right.
So maybe you sit down and you see how, how long you can inhale and how long you can exhale. And maybe you start out at a 4 count, which is fine.
Right.
And then that gives you a guide each day. So maybe you work to 5 or 8 or however.
okay, how many counts can you go?
Well, I don't know. I mean,
Because
well-
there's going to be people like me out there. There's going to be people like me out there that are like, "What's my goal?
What's your goal?" Well, you don't- yeah.
If I hit this number,
You're good.
I'm really doing a great job."
well, no goals, obviously. So just start where you're at. And I love the number 11. So I like to breathe in 11,
Okay.
breathe out 11.
Okay, I'm
so
liking
I gave you a
that.
goal. So that's
Okay.
that's your goal. But
Okay.
that's not everyone's goal. So
All right.
just do what's right
Just
for
do
you.
whatever you notice, and then you'll start to increase and
Yes,
increase.
yes.
Now, what type of people do you love working with?
I love working with moms, especially younger moms who maybe have never had a child before and really need extra support. Being young, and can be scary sometimes, to walk into you're walking into a new pathway through a door into a new world. So just having the guidance and being educated on birth and different things that you might not read about or maybe your doctor doesn't tell you about. So young moms who, feel like they need support, even people who have great support systems, sometimes the husband or the partner in the room,
Listen, they faint.
Oh, yeah, that happens.
I mean, my husband, this is our second marriage, but with his first child, he literally fainted in the room. And I'm friends, of course, with his ex-wife, and her name is Trish, and Trish said, everybody's running to him. And she's like, what about me? Hold on a second. Just get him out of the room if he can't handle it.
Right. So the husbands need support too.
Right.
So doulas can also help the husband to know what to do and help the mom.
And I know that you don't just work with pregnant people, but here's the thing that I love, and I'm going to tell you this. I was friends with my personal doula before, and that was probably one of the reasons why I felt so comfortable with her, because I didn't even know what a doula was. I'm just going to be honest. I had no idea what it was. But it's such a special bond afterwards that it's been decades since. I mean, my youngest is 19 years old, and we moved away from the Austin area, and I haven't seen her. But I mean, if I see her, if I talk to her, it's such an instant connection.
Right.
And what I think is neat is because you are a yoga instructor yourself, and because you work with meditation, I mean, you don't just work with the moms, but the cool thing is that once you make that special bond, you can help them for the rest of their life. But other than moms, I know you have a heart for women. Mm-hmm. I know you have a heart for women, and you have a heart for moms. And let me tell you, if you're a mom out there, and I know a lot of you are, it can be hard and it can be stressful, and you've got mommy guilt, and you want everything to be perfect, and you want everything to be right, and you need someone that you can connect with. And with those later moms, what's the ideal person? I mean, somebody that's ready for this type of work, or maybe somebody that is going through transition. I mean, who do you find that it's just the most rewarding for you to help?
Well, all people, all moms, of course. And I mean, I like to continue it on after that as well, because we're not pregnant forever, which that's a good
Thank
thing,
heavens.
Right? Yes.
Thank the Lord. We're not pregnant forever.
Yes, we're not pregnant forever. But I like to be able to continue it on. So someone who is, really falls into it and really enjoys it and wants to continue just living a healthy lifestyle. Because I also... With the yoga, it just encourages you to stay healthy and just do something and just move and stretch and just feel and be in your body every day.
Okay, now you talk about digital detox.
Oh, yes.
And I think I know what that is.
Okay.
But I'm not 100% sure. So tell us, what is digital detox, why you think it's so important, and what we can do with our families?
Yes, well, a digital detox is just putting down the phone, putting down media, Facebook, all the things that we're so tied into, which help us tremendously and are so important. We can always come back to them. So I imagine a world where we continually take time to go and be in nature with our family, play games, do things that have kind of gone to the wayside and been lost. So just plan that. Look for a place. I'm willing to guide anyone who wants to go and eat healthy and practice yoga and breath work and meditation. I've also taught children. I don't think we spoke about that, but that's another thing that I have a big heart for. And I used to teach in the inner cities in Birmingham, and it was a great love of mine that I miss tremendously. It makes me a little upset thinking about it, but starting with the children. I mean, we need to teach them.
Listen, it is so important. We all know these kids these days. I mean, I'm sounding like I'm old, right? These kids. I mean, at what age? I mean, I'm just throwing this out there. At what age are the youth picking this phone up and the phone becomes the babysitter?
Yes.
I mean, I've seen kids, I swear to you, younger than one.
Yes.
Younger than one, where the parents are giving the phone to them and they are being entertained by the phone. So listen, I mean, my kids, my youngest is 19, like I said, my oldest are 23. I've got 5 of them, and they're a blast. But they did not have, we didn't have cell phones when they were young like that. So, I remember we started giving cell phones to our kids when they were 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And I still thought that was young and crazy. But nowadays, if we don't, if you're a mom, if you're a dad, if you're a grandparent, if you don't start to think about what are you doing to teach your children and grandchildren to not be connected to these digital products, and to learn how to breathe and to learn how to communicate with one another and to learn how to relax, what in the world? You know what I'm saying? So, what is a challenge? Because I'm all about challenges.
Okay.
And what's a challenge that we can say to everybody, I want to take this challenge.
Okay, let's do a month challenge
Okay.
where maybe you give up one of your social media that you love to follow, and just, unless it's for work, obviously for work you have to, but
Right.
maybe not the surfing.
But can we say I'm just asking, Brent, because you're the meditative guru, because obviously I feel like I'm a relaxed person, but I need to relax more. There's no doubt about it.
Or it can be,
But what I was going to say is, what if you say an hour a day,
an hour
don't
a
have
day.
your phone?
yes, an hour a day. Or maybe you take a walk without your phone, and you, because I see people walking and they're on their
I'm
phone.
shaking over here.
So you can do it. You can do it. Just walk and maybe pick up an acorn or a rock or a tree
Okay,
or a
so
leaf or
but
something.
listen,
Don't pick up a
this
tree.
is going to
but-
be a great challenge. So
Okay,
an
1
hour a day.
An hour a day.
An hour a day that you're awake, not when you're sleeping, okay, everybody? Because that's what my kids would say.
That's your hour.
Okay, so an hour of your waking day that you normally would have your phone, how about we just turn it off? Now, that's going to be really hard for
It's
me,
hard.
but just turn it off.
Turn it off. And just
If
and,
my
and,
husband
you'll
is
get to
watching
know
this, he's gonna
yourself.
love
You'll
this.
find new things to do, and you'll rediscover some things that that interest you. So I love to read. I love to walk. I love to meditate. And if you're constantly on the phone and it's constantly in front of you, it's hard. Obviously, get a timer. Set the timer.
Well,
you don't
so
have to
this
use
is
the
what I was
phone,
going to
but-
say is, for me personally, I love to read, and I read all the time. And in fact, that's one of the things that I encourage everybody out there to do, is you have to read. It's a daily life-changing activity. I write in a journal, and I love that. But I am going to be honest, even when I'm reading or writing in a journal, my phone is close by, and if I get a ding, I will look at it. It doesn't mean I'll reply to it because I'm busy,
Right.
but I do look at it, and I think I need to not look at it. And listen, we all know if you're in childbirth and you're in labor, you're not going to be looking at your phone. But I don't know, maybe some do.
I don't know. Maybe today they do, but well, I think they
Maybe.
post things probably.
Yeah, they're probably. So for you, when you look at your journey that you've gone through, you shared something that was a sacrifice, but really wasn't a sacrifice. But it was a sacrifice to not be with your daughter for a month. But there you have to do those things. So what are some other experiences or sacrifices or even self-limiting beliefs that you've had in your life that you had to overcome during your process, because you are not where you are right now because you just accidentally got there?
Right. So one thing that I did is, when I lived in Alabama, I had the yoga studios and had a lot of connections there, even connected into school systems and hospitals. And I really gave that up and moved back to Dallas. I'm from Dallas, so moved back home to be closer to my family. And that was one of the most challenging things I think I've ever had to do. So just leaving a place that I felt so connected, and I had so much growth there. So that was very difficult. And at the time, you wonder, how am I going to get through this? But everything shifts and your journey continues. And it really made me focus in on exactly what I want to do for me, and
Right.
just focus on women, focus on building a community. And so many women get left out during pregnancy and childbirth and just raising children. So really, if you can, create that community while you're pregnant, before you have the baby.
Right.
So you have support. So that was really probably one of the hardest things I've ever had to do.
And you touched on self-care. You really did with that answer. You touched on self-care. Why is self-care so important for mothers?
because if you don't take care of yourself, then it's really hard to give to your children and family. So even though it might be hard, even the times that I left my daughter or have taken time to myself, sometimes people think, it's selfish, but it's not, because if your cup is not full, it's very hard to give to other people.
And and it's so true, and it's such a easy concept to know and understand, but it's challenging to do sometimes, Bryn. And I think that's one reason why the meditation and surrounding yourself with great people, and once you get into a habit of self-care, it becomes easier. But what are some self-care tips that you think are so vital? I mean, I know you're going to say meditation.
Of course. I'll tell you my morning routine. So I like to get up about 4:44 a.m. on a good day.
Now, why 4:44? Just because it's all three fours?
Yeah, I like the number, and it's just fun, and it works for me. So I get up about 4:44, and usually go downstairs, have coffee or tea, and set the timer and meditate. And then I write or read, and an hour is a long time for your challenge. Maybe start smaller, that's your goal. But just that those are my things that I like to do. And nature is really what gets me in touch with myself and just everything. So finding time to be in nature.
Okay, so how long have you lived your life like this?
I started my yoga journey in 2003, so it's been quite a while.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was when you started the yoga journey, is that when you started to do the meditation and you started to do more reading and things like that? Or was it a progression where you got involved in the yoga that really got you more centered and balanced, and then you started I call them life-changing daily habits. Yoga is a life-changing daily habit. Meditation is a life-changing daily habit. Reading, writing in your journal, I mean, all these things they're life-changing, that if you start to implement these things into your life will be different, not just in a year, but in 30 days.
Yes, of course. In 30 days, it can be different. I did start, so it's small little steps that you take. And when I started yoga in 2003, that's when it did start. And it wasn't formal sitting meditation, but by focusing on the postures I was doing and being in the class and showing up on time and just being present, you're focused, so you are doing a meditation.
Okay, so what are some of your favorite books?
My favorite book, so I love The Autobiography of a Yogi. That's one of my favorites. It's just filled with mystery and just wonderful stories for any yogi or anyone looking to read.
But like what kind of stories?
Just stories of
people that started the practice.
Well, yeah, he's a yogi, so
Okay.
he follows his path. So it's a story of his life. So
Okay.
yeah, so that's a great story. I love also The Alchemist is a good one. Just following your path. There's so many. I mean, I read
See,
constantly.
Well,
so
that's the thing is I'm the same way. And here's the book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And every month I facilitate a mastermind, and every month we have a different book, and I try to change the book as we go month to month. But sometimes there's just some books that are so impactful, you got to keep talking about it. And I'm going to keep talking about this book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. And in there's 7 habits. The first 3 habits talk about you becoming independent, because you cannot become the best version of yourself if you're dependent on others, okay? But then habit 4, 5, 6, and 7 is really helping people become interdependent. And I really think that's what the relationship between a doula and a mom, it's a relationship between a husband and wife. It's a relationship between friends. It's a relationship between a coach and a student, or a coach and an athlete. That interdependent relationship is when you have 2 independent people that are coming together and they create something bigger and better. And that's what I love so much about yoga and meditation and all of those practices, is because it really helps you become independent. And when you're independent, you're able to add so much more into any type of relationship.
Yes.
And what are some stories that you can share just from your practice with yoga, working with other clients, and as a doula? I mean, is there anything you can share? Because I love stories.
Love stories. So I had a girl that was in a treatment center, and she told me that she wanted to have a doula, and she wanted me to be her doula. And I really watched her take that challenge, and she wanted a natural birth, not just a doula. She wanted a natural birth, and not all people want a natural birth. And I watched her go through it, and we came together, and the energy was just amazing because you have to work so closely together with your client. And she did it, and it really, gave her so much self-confidence and just really changed her life as far as, when you're in a treatment center and going through those difficult times, to be able to have that experience,
Right.
to
I can't
to
even
grow.
imagine, so, every one of us, and I mean, every one of us, so don't feel badly here, every one of us has dealt with and are still dealing with self-limiting beliefs. I mean, that's just a part of life. So what has one self-limiting belief that you've had, and how did you get over that?
Well, just a self-limiting belief is just not thinking you're good enough or you don't have what it takes to do it. And my father always said, it was his little mantra, if you think you can, you can. So that is what just kept me going, and it comes in and it comes out, but just having that knowing, that you can get through that. So, just kind of that self-talk that comes into your head, you have to just put it out, get it out, use a mantra, and use, use some good positive words.
Okay, so I want to know, when you have those self-limiting beliefs, because like I said, we all have them.
Yes.
I mean, for me, I'll tell you when they come, they creep into my head late at night. Because when I wake up in the morning, I hit the ground running. I do. I hit the ground running literally sometimes, and I'm just go, 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 go. I'm busy, busy, busy. And it's late at night when I'm in bed and I'm just there. And a lot of times it's even after I've said my prayers, but you're by yourself in your head. And that's when the thoughts will pop into my head. So I always say you have to start to identify when you have those self-limiting beliefs. It's usually the same ones. It's not like, isn't that interesting though? I mean, honestly, it's usually, you might have 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever, but you don't have 10, you don't have 20. Mine probably aren't the exact same as yours.
Right.
But when that happens, I have an incredible, I worked with a growth and development coach for years, and I have him on audio, and I stick in my headphones and I listen to him, and then I fall asleep, and it's literally 15 minutes, and in 15 minutes I'm asleep. So do you find that during those times, if you are experiencing a self-limiting belief, that you use yoga to relax?
I do. Obviously, using yoga, the physical practice, is important to help the body prepare yourself to sit in a quiet, meditative state. But I know, like yesterday morning, a little story. I, woke up not at 4:44, but it was Sunday, so woke up a little bit later and had my little morning routine, sat down on my yoga mat, and then my son woke up. So I didn't get to meditate. And actually, yesterday was difficult for me. So it really makes a difference.
It does make a difference.
It does.
It makes a difference.
Huge difference.
I cannot tell you how just excited I am to share with everybody. I do a Monday Mindset email every Monday. If you're not on my list, please let me know. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, Jen's Johnson, please do so, and share with your friends and family. If you want to come on the show, if there's a topic that you want us to cover, if there's a self-limiting belief that you're dealing or struggling with, if there's anything that we can do to help you become the best version of you, that's really what we want to do. And every one of my guests, I say, listen, if you have a special offer for anybody that's watching, whether you're watching live, whether it's 6 months from now or a year from now, what is that offer that you can share with people?
Well, I do private lessons, so I would love to offer a private lesson, and then your second one would be free. So come in, try a lesson, and I'll give you another one, and we can work on anything you want. You know, if you're a mom, great, we can focus on prenatal. If you just want to work on body yoga, we can do that. But let's start with the breath, and just really get that breath work first, because
love that.
the breath is so important. That's what we're here. We're alive.
Right.
It's all through the breath. So I would love to have help as many people as I can.
And this is a big deal because I promise you, every one of us needs help breathing. So with that, thank you again so much, Bryne, for coming on the show. And thank you for watching, whether it is live or whether it's in a recording. And we're so grateful to have you. And just want to remind everybody, we'll be back here again next Monday at 2 p.m. So until we meet again, be big, be bold, and most importantly, be you. Bye-bye.